put us all out there a little more. Renita, if you want to take a minute just to just explain who you are, your organizations, and what you're got going on. Okay.
Hi, I'm Renita Grimes. I have a company called Spin the Yard, which is a term that we use in jail. It's a walking the track for those that don't know. So what we did is we took that concept and we brought it out. We found that people that are home and that are free are also have their own mental jail going on, incarceration. I also work with Man in the Mirror. I give out to the community. I am the network and resource, I'm told. So
Yes, you are.
Right. So I am the core to if anybody needs anything, they reach out to me. If someone just came out of a shelter and they have no furniture, no bed, they reach out to me. I find the resources. I get the furniture. If they don't have food, I find the places where they can go or bring it to the door if they don't have clothing, so forth, so on.
So in other words, Renita is the plug. She is, the end goal. She's definitely been a blessing. We had a conversation about a young man I was helping out as well, and you were absolutely a blessing in trying to help me get that underway. But we're going to throw to Sid because this conversation is going to get really interesting. So we're going to let you introduce yourself and where you're from and what you do.
I am Sidney Martin. I am pastor-elect at the Destiny House Christian Center located at 70 North Main Street in Freeport, New York. And I am the husband of our senior pastor, Pastor Pepper Martin. And my original title was Chief Operating Officer. I'm the plug over there.
Yes, you are.
So I serve there, and I'm also involved in fathers.org, fatherhood.org, which is a agency that we do a ministry in Rikers Island, servicing fathers as they're coming out in reentry, being good dads, and how are they going to relate to the family. And I've recently been also kind of brought into furthering fathers dialogue, which is out here from Roosevelt, and we're all kind of the three of us and my new friend. We're going to get involved, and we're going to do some things. We're going to turn Long Island out as far as our ministries, and I don't think it's necessary to invent the wheel.
No.
Because things are in place.
Absolutely.
So I want to be a spoke in the wheel, and we're going to do well.
Absolutely. Okay, well, because we discussed, you were just talking about the prison and the reentry and stuff like that. I actually had someone that was supposed to be here today as well. One of my best friends just came home last Thursday from prison, and I thought that was perfect for him to have been here, to have this conversation because he was fresh home. But God, he got a job as soon as he came home. So, Randy, if you're watching, God bless you. We wish that you were here, but there's times that, we'll get together and do something in the future. But I want to discuss just collaborations in the future. Kind of what you guys, even with Man in the Mirror, do you have an event that's coming up?
We have an event coming up December 23rd. We partnered up with the VFW. We have a lot of veterans now that we find that are incarcerated as well. So we partnered up with the VFW. We're doing a free drive. It started originally as a coat drive, but I did one last month, and I had a need that was met again. God bless me. I partnered up with the Long Island Coalition. They showed up with hats and scarves and stuff like that, and people came out, and so I seen a greater need, and I asked for more, and I was blessed with more. Yeah, I think I have a thrift shop going on right now in my garage.
Yes, you did. You're part of it.
And he knows exactly how that is because Destiny House over the last 3 months, we've done 2 clothing drives, a coat drive. We've sent barrels to Zambia, and his house has become compound as well. Right. So you guys definitely have that thing in common. But I just want to touch on the importance of getting involved. I think that when people think about prison and prisoners, it's the negative connotation that goes along with it. But I always believe, and I've always taught my son, I believe that we're all one step away from, being in that position. Like we've all done something wrong within our lives, that if it had not been for the grace of God, that we would have been in that same position. So I think it's important for us to remember that even if the individual did the wrong thing that landed them in prison, there's still a family. There are children that are innocent, that are missing a mother, a father, an uncle, an aunt, you know. And it's important for us as people, and especially as Christians, to get involved in the community, get involved with these families, and just see how we can be a blessing to them. And I know that's something that you are trying to start up that.
You know, you're spot on, and you just didn't hit the target, but you're hitting the bullseye. And it's important for us to hit the bullseye. When you do prison ministry, it's a humbling experience, because the only difference between me and them is they got caught. I may have even got caught, but you know,
that's that grace of Jesus.
So it's a humbling experience, and you know, a lot of times people go, "Oh, you know, he didn't really do it." You know, well, maybe he didn't. But sometimes you do, and it's for the most minute things, and it escalates. You know, to see that young lady on TV to try to have her baby ripped from her arms. Yes. She was there for hours, and she was there to get a voucher so she could work. And it really vexed my spirit to see other women treat her like that. I think that was another shift for me, that to see other women, and you know, to keep it 100, to see other black women officers, and you know, I really wasn't there. I don't know what, you know, went on before, but from what I do know, she was tired. She wanted a chair. There was no more chairs, and she sat on the floor. And just that whole experience is degrading, and that just set off something else. She had to spend days in Rikers. Now, I really work with a lot of men that are going through divorce and things like that, and trying to build up men going through the divorce process to, you know, sometimes as husband and wives, you don't work. But as mom and dad, we've got to work with our children. You've got to be on the same page. And that whole experience, and men and child support, and going through the system, sometimes they wind up going to jail for back child support. Now, how are you going to work and get this money? So now you owe child support because you're incarcerated. Now you've lost your apartment or your house because you can't work, and it's just a snowball.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
I absolutely agree with you. Even in just speaking about women, I think it's important just in general for us as women. I think we spoke about it the week before last on the show, about us women just coming together as people. You know, I think that especially as black women, it's so discouraging. Because we don't really, but there are some of us, in our defense, there are some of us that can band together and make moves. But outside of that, it's kind of like the crab in the barrel. We don't want to see each other succeed. It's like, you know, if you're doing something great, there's the hate factor. It shouldn't be. You know, we should be able to come together, and if you have something that I lack, I should be able to come to you, and vice versa, where we can just help each other build. But unfortunately, you know, us as black people, and most other cultures, they have that thing. You know, you can look at Hispanics where they can live multiple in a home and build together, move out, move on to something else just to get ahead. Us as black people is so discouraging sometimes, because we don't have that, and I don't know where it came from, but there's a breakdown there that we just don't.
Yeah, it's a breakdown in the community. And so, you know, you look at the jails, and it's almost like a generation is lost. So a generation was lost due to incarceration. You have a big problem, which is you had a point where you had the crack law and you had the crack era. And you found that people were getting more time than they should have gotten. And so they were going for decades instead of what should have been a year or two. You got 20 years. And so you didn't have the same teachings that we had earlier on, you know, the great-grandmothers and the grandmothers. So a lot of that is missing, and I think now it's time to bring it back. And, you know, I do a lot of my networking based on that. You know, my grandmother, when I was growing up, she would get a piece of material, and everybody shared that piece of material. And so when I had on shorts and stuff like that, and I go to my aunt's house, I look like her curtains, and I look like the other aunt bedspread. Yeah, but it was just all in the network, and I think that we're coming back to that.
I think slowly but surely there are a lot of great organizations in Nassau and Suffolk County that are really making moves, and I'm just excited. I come from Beautifully Unique. It's my nonprofit. We've done some work with you guys with your coat drive and things of that nature, and even at Destiny House. I'm just excited about us coming together and being the change. That's one of my favorite quotes is, be the change you wish to see in the world. And it's like, it's important for us to not just talk about the things that are frustrating us or the things that should be changed. It's important for us to get out there and actually be that change, create that change, because the reality is it benefits us to be incarcerated. It benefits them. It doesn't benefit us. It breaks homes. It absolutely does. It destroys generations. It destroys relationships, but it benefits them. So it's important for us to, get back in place and in position and realize we're worth more. We're worth more. We come from a descendant of kings and queens. We cannot, continue to feel like we're less than. We hear what they're saying, but we know better. We come from grandparents. I come from, my grandmother was a grandmama. She came from, that's why community is all I know. My grandmother not just worked in the school district, but she was deep in the community, deep in the church. My mother got it straight from my grandmother. She was into, community, the kids. It's important for us to step outside of paychecks, and stop cutting off, this is what this is what my paycheck says, so I'm not going to do more than what I'm getting paid to do. It's important for us to just get involved, because there are a lot of children out here that are lacking, and they need us to step up. And your wife, I know you get it firsthand, because your wife is not just a pastor, but
my wife is also an educator, and I coached high school track for 32 years. So we have surrogate children that we've kind of had a hand in raising, and I've now seen the fruits of my labor. They are good and grown. They have grown children in college, and they still call me coach. I'm like, you can call me Sid. No, I can't coach.
No, respect.
And that is right, and it's a term of endearment, and it's something I had to come to grips with. And I deal a lot with men who are married to women in ministry. And we're a minority, and my wife is a strong woman. Pastor Martin she has to take that hat off, and she becomes Mrs. Martin when she comes home. I still have to be the king of my home, the priest of my home, and when she goes to that church, she is the spiritual authority. And I have to relinquish that she is a spiritual authority, and that's a tough thing sometimes for men to do, and there's no DVD for it. There's no weekend retreat for it. Nobody does that. They assume sometimes we walk in that I am Pastor Martin. No, she's the pastor.
Yes, that's something that when I came in, I always loved about you guys. I just jumped in, and I'm their rebellious child. But I always loved that about you guys, because he is the backbone of DHCC. He really is. He's everywhere. He's on top of everything. He makes sure that things run smoothly. But he's still secure in who he is as a man, and that's something that you don't see every day. And when he said that Pastor Pepper Martin is a strong woman, she is she is not to be played with. So it's a beautiful thing to see your dynamic as not just pastor and now pastor elect, but as husband and wife. It's awesome to see. There are times after church, I'm going to tell this. There are times after church we never want to leave, and there's times after church where you see the shift, where they go from being, pastor and pastor elect to, just Mr. and Miss. And it's a beautiful thing just to see their love for each other. He's never too far away from her. Like, he is her protector. He's always there. But, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. And I'm excited about just being a part of the ministry. I've been in at Destiny House for a little over a year, and I'm just happy to be there, and I'm excited that you came on to have, just to have this conversation about prison and men, the importance of community, the importance of being mentors, the importance of just being involved. So I'm happy that both of you are here with me today to have this discussion, because it's important for people to see that we are here.
And I want to say thank you. You said the key word, man, and we don't have many black strong men around anymore. So just to have that, just to acknowledge you, and just for you being that example, you are showing us you're walking in the light of God. I appreciate that.
And, it's so important that,
it is.
with the Me Too movement and we went through an incredible shift. We went through the Black Power movement. We went through the women's movement.
Right.
So the black women went through two movements. And it's incredible. And when you see women in ministry and sometimes, it used to be the men's club, the boys club.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting dynamic to watch and to witness. And sometimes God gets your attention. God got my attention when I had a daughter. And then for me to have Pastor Pepper Martin as my wife, sometimes I have to remember, let her handle the situation. Okay, she's not weak. She's gonna handle the business.
Yes, she is.
And for men to learn that women you guys don't want us to solve your problem. You want us to listen. That's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. I don't want you to solve it.
No.
I just want you to hear my heart. Okay. And when you need us, when you come home and you say somebody acted up, all right, now step back.
That's right. That's when you jump. That's when you jump in. Right. But a lot of times, you're right. We just want to vent. Most of the time, we already know what we're gonna do next. We just need to get it out and then move forward. That's really it. I just want to take a minute before we jump back in. I have to acknowledge our sponsors, Platinum Credit Repair Solution. Give them 45 days, and they will get you a higher credit score with a flat price, no monthly payments, and fast permanent results. You can call Jennifer Madden today at 516-806-6449. That's Platinum Credit Repair Solutions. And this is CARE. Community Care Companions, Inc., a licensed home care agency that is looking to hire HHAs, PCAs, LPNs, RNs to service all of Long Island and the 5 boroughs in Westchester County. Come be a part of their organization that's more like family. Give them a call at 631-848-2670 and tell them Catherine from Her-Community2 sent you. So back to us. Now that we've gotten that out the way, we thank,
pay the bills.
We thank God for the sponsors that saw the vision and keep us on air. So we want to make sure that we acknowledge them. But I think that this conversation, we don't always get access to as regular people to get on these platforms. This is Facebook Live, so it's everywhere. It's on churchtalkradio.com as well. So it can be shared. It can be seen all over the world. It's important for us to let people know that though our president is a joke, we are not.
That's not fake news.
That is not fake news. It's just important for us to have important conversations. I love what we do every Thursday. We have fun with what we do, but it's important to have conversations that are important to the community, that are important to real people, because we are real people. The things that are happening in the world today are affecting us directly. That's also why it's important to vote, because regardless of my vote doesn't count, it does, because especially if you're not voting in these lower elections, these directly affect your community, your taxes and everything like that. So I'm just glad that we're here having real conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I ran for school board.
Did you?
And when you the most important vote is the school board. That's your neighborhood. It's not the electoral college, and we're not talking about those kind of votes. And your school board it's a shame that like this school district only gets maybe 2,000 people that vote.
Yeah.
And your school board, that, you know, the dollars and how your children are treated, and who's teaching your children. Do you have children that they sometimes see people that look like them teaching?
Yes.
Or they're in administration or whatever. And that doesn't mean there aren't, you know, good teachers. I had some great teachers growing up. They did not look like me, but they were great teachers.
Yes.
Right.
But it is nice to see teachers that look like you or look like your mom or your dad. Yeah. And that's very important.
Especially, you know, it goes back to, you know, community. You know, it takes a village. I think, like I grew up with it takes a village, and I think that somewhere we've stepped away from that. I still very much, unfortunately, I will see, but not fortunately, I will see a young man walking around with his pants pulled, and I have to say something. Like I have to. It is just embedded in me. What are we doing? You know, but we have to take back our communities. It is important, because the bottom line is, if we continue to turn a blind eye, they're just becoming more of a statistic.
Right. And so, with Man in the Mirror, with that being said, what we do is we actually look at the whole picture. So we take the inmate, we try to get them before they come out. We take the family, we try to do an intake sheet on them of what it is needed. Because a lot of times people are not coming out to vote anymore because they've lost trust in the community and they just quit.
Very true.
They don't realize the real impact, and so when they say they're being harassed, you know, 20 times, I have young kids say to me, "Well, we're being harassed by an officer." I said, "Well, you don't have to complain, you know, to that officer as it's being done. But what you can do is silently take down the number, be observant, look at it. If a lot of people call in, then something will be done. But if you take it as that's the norm and everybody gets pat down, then of course when an incident breaks out, nobody recognizes it. And the same thing with voting. Everyone has a problem until it's time to vote, and the numbers are low. So, you know, we actually do an intake on that. This voting, it was pretty good. A lot of people came out. You know, we supported a lot of people. But I like to see the numbers go up.
Yeah.
And so I think that we need to get out there and let them know about the census 2020, how important that is. And we should start now.
Yes. I mean, the reality, if you don't know how important it is to vote, look at who we have as president. I mean, I really, for me, I'm going to say this, and it's not going to be the popular thing to say, but I've never been here for the popular thing to say. For me, this election was kind of like, how do you want to die? It was like somebody sat there and they said, okay, you have a choice. You can die one or two ways. Either you're going to get hung in the tree or you're going to get shot. It really, I'm sorry, but it really came down to, you know, the lesser of two evils. A lot of youth were disappointed with Bernie not getting in. Because he had the youth vote, he had the attention. Absolutely, we keep counting the millennials out. You know, we give them a bad rap, and I keep saying they're not as sleep as we think that they are. No. They really are in tune. The reality is, they're not what we were. You can't just tell them anything. They're like, to show me. You got to show me. I'm not just gonna buy that this is what it is because you told me that it is.
But you know, I wasn't called a millennial, but I was something else. I had the afro. I had my hair braided. I had, you know, the overlap pants. I remember that, you know, we went through the overalls, and you know, we used to have the red, black, and green flag on our pocket, and the red, black, and green high tube socks. We went through all that. Yeah. I went to college, and I took over as a freshman. I took over the administration building because we were invested in South Africa, and we wanted divestment. So we took over the building. We chained ourselves together, and I went to the same college that Angela Davis graduated from. So I went to Brandeis University, and you know, there were very few of us that were in that school, but I learned so much. But we took over, so I was a millennial. I mean, I was another, what we call a rabble. Old school.
Yeah, but I think that we just give it, you know, we give them a bad name. Yes, there are the teens out there, but in my generation, there were people out there that were smoking and drinking and doing all of that stuff. We can't, my son gets so upset when I say your generation, because he's like, I'm the exception to the rule, and he is. He really is an amazing kid. So I just think that it's important for us to keep our hands on him. Let's stop, judging, because we've all done it. We've all experienced and experimented. Let's be a little more humble and remember sometimes we get so far gone, or so deep in Christ or wherever we are in our life, our money is different and we forget. No worldly good. We forget who we were and what we experienced. Right. For me, I tell my son the truth at all times. I'm like, look, the mama that you see today is not the mama that
Come on. And before crack, we had freebase. Right. And we had a different name, but if I can digress for 1 second, I just want to say hi to Pastor Donnie McClurkin. He was in a car accident Tuesday night. I don't know if he's still in the hospital. He's good. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. Totaled the car, but he was my old pastor, and I used to be his cameraman. My wife helped start Perfecting Faith Church with him. Longtime friend. I just want to give him a shout out and say, hey, Pastor Donnie.
Absolutely. Before we close, because we have 3 minutes left, I want to make sure that our viewers know how to get in contact with both of you, whether it be through donation, whether it just be to find out more about your organization and your church. So I'm going to throw to you. If there's a website, if there's a phone number they can get in contact with, your Facebook, just whatever way that they can get in contact with both Spin the Yard and Man in the Mirror. Now's your shot.
Okay, Renita Grimes. You can go to Facebook, look me up, mitm.com, or you can go to spintheyard.com. I'm available.
Yes.
You can get in touch with me at electman@dhcc.church, or you can call 877-698-3422, extension 3, and get a hold of me.
And don't forget that they can absolutely find us at Destiny House Christian Center on Facebook.
Right. That's right.
And you can tap into us, our website at www.dhcc.church.
That's right.
And I forgot about myself. You can absolutely find me, beautifullyuniqueinc.com.org. Forgive me, look, I'm so busy plugging you, I forgot that I was something. And also, you can go to www.IamShika and you can find all things Shika Michelle, beautifully unique, inspired by Shika Michelle. And again, I'm happy that you guys came out. I think that what we discussed is important. I'm going to need you to come back. I'm going to need a number 2 for us to really have this conversation, get a little deeper in this conversation about the importance of being involved in reentry.
Yeah.
And, making sure that these people, so that they don't go back, because the goal is to keep them home.
Right.
So thank you guys for
Thank you for having us.
And happy holidays, because I believe that we are off next week. So happy holiday. The following Jesus, what's today? Either way, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having
us. I had an amazing time, and I'll see you next Thursday with Catherine.
Amen.